Please do. Hello, and welcome to Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? We are in Moscow, live on the streets in Moscow, sitting in a cafe, about to have some coffee. We'll show you the troops for the record. We have got something fun lined up for today as well. Anybody who thinks this is fake, by the way, we're flipping the camera around. You can see we're not. It's not a green screen. It's not like, you know, we are staying in the Marriott. We're not BSing with this stuff. It's 100% real. It's 100% live. Yeah. We don't have audio, right? So we're just beamed into a phone here. We have got mics though. We have got some Rode mics. And what we're going to do after this stream ends, because it's coming up 6 p.m. It's peak time for being out, right? Because there's a flow of traffic. It's post work on a Friday. We've got these two Rode mics. They don't work with StreamYard. They don't work with YouTube, but they do work with TikTok. So I know there'll be guys sitting on there going, "Oh, for fuck's sake, TikTok." But what we're going to do is we're going to go live after this on TikTok and just do some approaching, and you will be able to hear the audio. So head over at James Tusk. Just Google TikTok at James Tusk. Follow me, and you're going to see a live. Yes, thank you. You're going to see a live recording of us in action, or not a live recording, just a live stream of us in action doing some approaching. The clip, thank you. The clip's then going to be we're able to download the clip, and me and Troy will post it on both of our channels as well on YouTube, so you'll have the audio at least. It's not strictly live on YouTube, it's live on TikTok. Check it out there, or just watch the replay when we upload it to YouTube. But yeah, we thought we'd do a bit of a combination today. So let's see how that pans out. I think she's, I don't know. We can have a word if you want. She's with family, okay. Fair enough. Anyway, so today we wanted to talk about, as usual, what I try and do, and I think a reason a number of you who would have watched my drunken Mexico live stream when I was on a bit of a bender for 2 weeks resonated with the content I was putting out, was we're always trying to talk about stuff that's authentic, that's real at the time. And myself and Troy, we've been on the road now in Russia. We've hit Moscow, we've hit St. Petersburg, we've hit Kazan, Sochi, and we've hit Sochi. And we've got a couple of days left till we head off in our part respective ways. It's going to be the end of a very cool experience, but we're both feeling a little bit burnt out, aren't we? Yeah. So what we want to talk about is the fact that despite us always saying we want to be switched on as much as we can and take the action when we're able to as much as we can, some days or sometimes it is a bit like the gym. It's catabolic, it's stressful. Throwing yourself out of your comfort zone, facing your fears of approaching women, and sometimes. We're not saying this weekend, actually. I'm going to take time off when I go to Greece and chill out, because that's the purpose of that trip. But sometimes you do have to factor in some chill out time, don't you? You definitely do. And I mean, like, we're on the cusp of the end of this now, as James said. I mean, we leave Sunday, so we've got tomorrow and then Sunday. That's kind of it, really. So we are getting very close to the final countdown. But yeah, I mean, man, I'm feeling pretty tired. So last night, we were talking on a previous stream we did earlier with Jack Napier, if you saw that, and I was absolutely shattered last night, to be honest. I had to, he was on a date, I was on a date with our good northern friend, Mr. JT, and, JT wanted to carry on partying into the night, and I was just like, I had to say, listen, man, I've got to go back now. I've got to crash. What time did you wrap things up? Well, it was still about 1 o'clock, but I mean, obviously he wanted to, carry on into the wee early hours. And I mean, it's a Thursday night in Moscow, but it's still not brilliant. It wasn't like there was loads of people out, and I was just like, listen, man, I've got to cut this, because otherwise tomorrow's going to be a complete write-off. But even coming back and getting quite a good night's sleep, still feel a bit tired now. I've also had a massage as well this morning, because no happy ending, unfortunately. But I had a massage because I've also done something to my I pulled a muscle, and again, I think it's just general wear and tear from the trip, really. You know what I mean? So yeah, I am quite looking forward to being able to chill out for a bit and just sort of because we also mentally, I think, need to take stock, don't we, of this trip, and
you know.
Well, what you find is, right, and this is the interesting thing, when you go through periods of hitting the game hard, you get some great results, you have a lot of fun, you go on lots of dates, you're obviously meeting people, you're being very social, you feel amazing. But at the same time, everything comes with a price, and it is catabolic in the short term. So anabolic in the long term, and by that I mean if you approach loads like we've done the last three weeks, you get better socially, you become more socially and emotionally intelligent, you're better at just going for it. Yeah. You go on dates, you start handling dates better, getting back into a rhythm with dates. You're having fun, taking girls home. So in a longer term level, it's anabolic. It's like going to the gym. Your muscles will grow back stronger when you break them down. But just like going to the gym, in the actual day of the gym, you tear apart the muscles. It's catabolic, right? So it's weakening them in the short term to strengthen them in the long term. That's what happens with this. You hit it very hard. You have periods of, over. You get better and better and better at this stuff, and you get more switched on with it. But in the short term, it's quite stressful.
Yes,
and you've got to manage the fact that going out, facing that fear every time you see that girl, you have that jolt of adrenaline. You overcome it. You get in conversations but go to nowhere. You get rejections. There's it kind of emotional up and down. It is tiring. It's emotionally tiring, and you could say, "Oh, fuck your emotions." Fuck your feelings, they're fleeting, and that is something we preach as well, when you should be taking the best course of action. But when you go through these intensive periods of traveling, because traveling itself can be quite stressful, you're jumping from one place to the next. You have the first few days when you arrive in a place of a bit of anxiety because you're a fish out of water, different sights, smells, emotions running through your brain. You don't know anyone. It's stimulating. It's like watching, it's like watching shit on TV or Netflix. It's like a series of action sequence blow-ups from Die Hard. It's hitting your serotonin, your dopamine, your endorphin receptors. And with that comes the cost of all that stimulation. You're going to feel a bit down sometimes, and you're going to need to take stock of when you are feeling just a bit worn out. Maybe you could liken it to going to the gym too much, and you almost get that overtraining effect. I know at university, for me, I had glandular fever, didn't rest, and then developed chronic fatigue syndrome, which kept me in bed for about 9 months. And your body is telling you rest. With this, you do kind of listen to where you're at, and sometimes you're just a bit stressed, you're a bit tired, you're a bit sleep deprived. You're just not asked to chase women because you've been doing it for a while, and you need to then take stock and be like, right, what are some learning points? What are some other things I can do? And how can I kind of chill out and relax from that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, man, it's like today, for example, we're doing this stream now. We did a stream this morning. We're doing this now. We're going to be walking around for a little bit, doing a bit of socializing. And then I've got to go out later as well. So I've got to pull it out of the bag somehow later because I've got to go and meet somebody. And it's kind of like, do I feel like doing that at this precise moment? Not massively, no. But I've got to do that. I've got to go and pull it out of the bag. I will pull that energy from somewhere. It will be fine. But all of this is building up a deficit. I think you do get this energy deficit. I think we've had it over the last few weeks, and particularly me, because I'm not getting any younger, lad. You know what I'm saying? You need to, like, normally I'd be in bed by 9 p.m. with a cup of Ovaltine. M says, Detroit eat transformer sausage. No, you stupid cretin. You can't believe everything that you read on the internet. I think he's referring to those people who are of one gender, and then they become another gender, but they still have the bit. No, you stupid cretin. Of course I didn't. However, there are some big name guys in this industry who we have it on good authority absolutely have.
Why does it come from? Where's that even come from? Sex talk, when you're talking around sex toys.
I don't know. Because somebody found, I'll tell you what, somebody found some old picture of this bird that I was at a party with about 10 years ago, and they were saying that she looked like a bloke, which is quite funny.
I mean, I know I've been catfished this time, and I'm pretty sure I banged a lady boy. I mean, I didn't realise until the next day. Say to me, it's part.
That bloke's taking a picture of us.
He is. That's true.
He's a massive takeover. He's a massive. Yeah, look,
it's the risk you run in places like Thailand. I've gone there, and many times have I ended up with someone, and I'm like, fuck. Sometimes you last minute, you're like, fuck, okay, that's definitely a bloke. Pulled a ripcord, but fuck, I've definitely had a couple of run-ins. But if I look back and analyse in great detail, God knows what actually, what kind of gender was he or her.
Listen, man,
who gives the monkeys?
Who gives the monkeys? You guys need to chill the fuck out. He said, we saw the tent. We saw the tent, you stupid fucking cretin. You can't believe everything you see on the internet. And anyway,
what happens in the Furkine stays in the
Exactly. I think that guy was a fan of the stream. He was taking photographs of us.
Which one? Oh, over here. Yeah. Anything else to talk about with the burnout side of it? So again, guys, if you're tuning in, we will be going live on TikTok, doing some live approaching.
You work for left-wing newspapers, mate. You love it from the Transformers.
Come on, mate. Who is this? Let's get rid of this guy. He's a fucking knobber. He's done. Done whoever he is.
You can't believe everything that you read on the internet. You can't believe everything that people say on the internet. There's a lot of BS out there. And anyway, who cares?
Who
Right?
gives a monkeys? I mean, I don't give monkeys. I'm openly admitting here I probably have banged a few lady boys, whether I knew it or not. I don't give a fuck.
Every hole's a goal. Anyway, what are we talking about? Burnout.
Any port in the storm,
Exactly.
as a wise man says.
Any port in the storm.
Burnout.
All of that being said, burnout. It's just like, I don't know, man. It has been a pretty full-on trip, hasn't it? It has been a pretty full-on trip, and it's kind of like we definitely need to take some time out, take some stock, and just sort of like recalibrate, I suppose. But I think what happens is you take that little bit of time out, and then you come back stronger.
Yeah, 100%. And you know, again, just being in touch with your emotions and realizing that. I mean, when we both came for the trip, we were firing on all cylinders.
Absolutely.
We were coming out of London, you know, we weren't doing a great deal there, and we were like fucking excited to go, and we hit it fucking hard.
Yeah.
And we got some good results. We had some fucking great times, and you know, now for me, I am a bit like, oh, yeah, thank you. Now for me, I'm a bit like, well, whatever happens, right?
Yeah. Thank you.
Nice one.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Now I'm just like, well, whatever. I've got really. I mean,
on this trip, you mean?
Now, I'm at the end of my kind of just energy-wise. Well, of course, if I see some hot girls, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to approach. But I'm not that fast. I'm always like, I know I'm off to Greece for 2 weeks to chill out, and then I know when I come back to Russia with you in a couple of weeks, I'm going to have that kind of passion and desire to go again.
Yeah.
Because I'll rest it up and mentally just kind of recharge.
Yeah, definitely. I think as well, I mean, you can have periods of immersion in something. You can have periods of immersion. Yeah, exactly. Periods of immersion in terms of, you know, really, really throwing yourself into this. But remember as well, and I don't want to get the tiny violins out here, but we have been doing a number of things because we've been doing the socializing, the dating, and all that stuff. We've also been doing daily content like this, sometimes several times a day, sometimes for quite long periods of time as well. Plus, we're going to the gym. Plus, we've been traveling, getting it, you know, going on airplanes, going on taxis.
It's mentally.
So there's been quite a lot, and all loads and loads of fun. But at the same time, you know, sometimes you need to take a step back from that. But even just in the shorter term, during a day, you've got to think about, all right, so how am I going to conserve my energy? And for example, last night, probably had the opportunity, could have gone out to a club, something like that. I was too tired. I made that decision not to. I was tempted because it's kind of like, you know, in a new city, there's probably some cool stuff going on. It'd be interesting. Made the decision not to because otherwise today would have been a complete write-off.
Did John go to the club?
Second?
Did JT go to the club?
I don't know if he went in yet. I mean, he might have done, or he might have just sacked it off after we didn't choose to go out. But it's just like, you know, you've got to pick your battles with this stuff.
Pick and choose your battles. I agree. What else to say? If you've got any questions on this, guys, fire it up. Ask away about burnout. It is a real thing. It's not about sitting there going, oh, they're making excuses or, you know. But on a personal level, it's not about feeling like, oh, you know, you're being pussy because sometimes I'm approaching. But, you know, it's a legit thing.
Do you think that this is something that affects guys as they, you know, they get a little bit more mature in years? I mean, when you were in your 20s, would this have been an issue, do you think, or you'd have been all right?
I've always had it where I go out for a period of time, maybe 1 or 2 hours, hit it very hard. But then after that, I'm just like, I'm a bit done with it. I do find it knackering. I do find it catatonic. I always have done. I've always been about mindset of hit it hard for a few hours and just chill the fuck out. Yeah. I'm not one of these guys who goes out for 10 hours a day, approaching all day. I just find it overly exhausting and also just, I think, diminishing returns on.
I have to say that even when I was in my 20s, even when I was the height of my like clubbing and all the rest of it, I remember sometimes going for naps in the afternoon and stuff because you know it is tiring. So I think I probably slowed down a bit as you know you get more advanced in years. But I don't think the whole thing about when you're young you can just go forever. I don't think that's entirely true either. I think you always need to conserve your energy.
The end of the Mexico trip, so that would have been when I went to Mexico, then went to Brazil, did Carnival, charged around there for a couple of months, and then came back to Mexico. Well, I was drinking quite a fair bit, doing the live streams, and then from there I went back to the UK and just chilled in London for a couple of months and just kind of like just relaxed. And that's how that went.
You seem burned out at the end of the Mexico trip. How did you?
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So I sat in London and just chilled out and just got back to some sort of routine. If you can build a routine on the road, it's, especially given the lifestyle I live, then you can have a routine anywhere. It's very easy to stick to it somewhere like London where you're in one place. But yeah, I mean, it's the life we live. It's just you go through ups and downs and periods of burnouts. I think, again, this isn't turning into a woe us because I'm very lucky to live this type of life. But it's probably quite hard to understand for guys that do just sit in one place, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you don't travel frequently, if you're not kind of on the road, then it's hard to put yourself in a situation, and it's hard for me to paint the picture of how your mindset actually works with the kind of anabolic and catabolic nature of it, and the highs and lows, and the kind of stimulation, and then the kind of, just the effects of doing this sort of stuff. And again, I'm not complaining. It's a brilliant lifestyle to live, but it's quite hard to communicate it if you only go away once a year and you're used to just living in one place. You won't really understand it until you do this sort of stuff. And again, this is first world problems. I'm not complaining.
But even for the person who's in the one location and they're going out, they're doing dating and they're doing games and stuff like that. I mean, I have periods in London when I would literally have a date every night of the week, and that's a lot. Yeah, and there was one period when I was dating 5 girls at the same time. I know your mate's got like 17 or something, but I think 5 is logistically still quite a lot because it's one every night of the week, and you're seeing these different women. It's physically quite draining because obviously my lovemaking performance is pretty first class, but even on top of that, it's kind of mentally quite draining as well because you don't have that time to just be alone and to recharge. So it's and again, it's like, was that the most sensible thing to do? Well, probably not, right? I mean, that probably is too many. You've got to think about your energy and conserving your energy, because otherwise you are going to kind of. And I ended up having a mini sort of burnout, and I ended up having to drop all the plates, because it's just not sustainable.
Yeah, I mean, if guys have got any experience with this, it'd be interesting to hear your stories. But you kind of, here we go again. But Torero talks about it, where, I mean, he hit it harder than most, right? But he always had this kind of revulsion, didn't he, to game? Where he talked about day game revulsion, where he's just like, fuck, the last thing I want to do is go out and do approaching.
But as Mr. Tusk reminded me earlier, you have to remember that even if you're feeling completely drained at the moment, at some point in the future, you're gonna be feeling like, oh, I want to go out and be with a girl again. And if you've got no needs at that point, then you screw yourself over.
Well, I'm back to that phase now. Where basically I'm out of leads, right? Because I've gone through the dates with them. I've either seen them again, or I've decided I'm not going to see them again. And now the last thing I want to really do is go out and pile up more leads. But given that it's the weekend, given that it's Friday, given we're here and if we leave on Sunday, given we know we're coming back to Moscow, albeit if it's 1 or 2 days in between going to Yekaterinburg and the Ural Mountains and maybe St. Petersburg, I know deep down what I need to do is get back out there tonight and push myself through this hardness and just do some approaching, which I will do. Do I feel like doing it? No, I don't. Can I be asked with it? No, not really. But as you said, feelings will change. I'll come back in 10 days and be like, fuck, okay, I can't wait to meet some people. And if I've got some leads that I've collected here, it will all be worth it. It's almost treated like making decisions now in preparation for your future self. And that's a good filter guys can use. I always use this filter of like, in the moment, challenge yourself. Always. Is it that extra set in the gym? That session of sprints? Is it that extra approach you can do? Challenge yourself. But you can also, in the moment, just say, right, is the action I'm about to take going to help or hinder my future self? So it can be basic stuff like you're feeling really tired at night and you're like, fuck it, actually, I'm not going to brush my teeth, right? Minor example. But really, in the long-term scheme of it, it's stupid because you're going to wake up the next day, teeth slightly more yellow, probably going, why the fuck didn't I just brush my teeth, right? Same with this stuff. Like, I don't want to go and approach now, but I will go and throw myself into the lion's den because I know my future self, whether it's tomorrow or whether it's the next time I come back to Moscow, will thank me for taking the action. Right, so let's put it through the filter of is this going to help or hinder my future self? It could be your future self in 1 hour, it could be your future self in 1 week, 1 month, 1 year. but will the action I'm taking right now in the moment, and that's a good thing to do because you're living consciously, you're actually analysing your decisions in the moment rather than just going from an autopilot. It could even be like, am I going to have that extra glass of red wine? Am I going to watch that shitty TV show when I should know I should go to bed? Because I'm going to be up to the gym early tomorrow. Just always putting it through the filter of, is it going to help me or hinder me? This action I'm about to take.
Yeah.
Would be a useful one for guys.
Beforehand, good to see you, man. Is saying, do you guys perform better when your students are watching, or the same during day game? I mean, one thing I would say is when I've been filmed for doing approaching, I have, and I'm discounting the live stream because the live stream's a bit of a different beast, but there's certainly times when it's been more on the line because I've been filmed or somebody's been watching, and I have actually performed a bit better because it's encouraged me to do things that maybe I wouldn't have done otherwise.
Yeah.
Because if you're just out and you're on your own or you're just with a mate or something, you can sort of let yourself off the hook a bit because it's like, well,
even though really it should be the filter of,
yeah,
the boss is always watching.
Yes.
The only person that really matters to is yourself, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. But you can kind of let yourself off the hook. You think, I just won't bother, you know.
And we do. We're only human. You know, it's basically a battle for self-mastery, all this stuff. We're never really fully like fully on board with ourselves, are we? We're always in some way trying to sabotage ourselves or something, and I think that's just normal. And yeah, you know, for me, I think as well, I perform better when I'm on camera. When I'm with students, yeah, I mean, I like leading from the front. I like charging in. I like approaching with them. You're not going to get any of this nonsense if you come and train with us, which we do know that some bigger names do, which is they refuse to approach at all. We know a couple of guys that charge a lot of money, which is fair enough because it's the pricing for the industry, but they just especially say we're not approaching, and I think that is kind of diminutive because I liken it to going into battle, right, in World War I and World War II. How are you going to lead from the front effectively as an officer? Are you going to go into battle first, head first into battle? Yeah. Is that the kind of, you know, mentality that men will follow and emulate? Yes. Right. So I liken it to this. If you're not approaching with students, to a degree, you can kind of call into question what you're up to, I think.
Yeah.
Again, so it's not about having morals. It's just about, you know, we're practicing what we preach as much as we can. So yeah, same with me. I perform better, I think, on camera. I just play up to it more, I think, because you just know it's going to be good footage, don't you? Yeah. If it's a blowout, it's like, oh, cool, stick it on YouTube. That's going to be the most popular footage anyway, because people love watching the world burn. And if it's not a blowout, great, you know. Yeah. And it plays into that whole thing. Is that, well, you know, those quotes that I always come back to that I resonate with. Men would be, if men really knew how women think, they'd be 20 times more audacious than they are. From a 17th century French philosopher. Enter action with boldness, 48 laws of power. The number one, according to Robert Glover, number one aphrodisiac of in men for women is confidence. You know, if we bring it as much as possible, it's just going to pay dividends, isn't it? And so, yeah, always better just go in there and fucking go for it. You've got nothing to lose, right? And again, you only regret the actions you didn't take in life. You never regret taking the action. It doesn't work out. Never. You gave it a shot. What else can you do?
Absolutely. And rejections don't matter because rejections are just taking you that bit nearer to the acceptance. You know, you can get blown out 100 times in a row. All you need is one yes. And but you know, you've had an amazing afternoon. So,
well, that's what we were saying. The average bloke that goes away to a place for a week, right? If you charge around and you just basically ignore all the rejections you get, but you're just realizing that if it goes well with two women that you vibe with and see them again, that's the sign of a successful trip, because it is. Most men, if they go to a random place, they hook up with two hot girls who they get on with and they can see again. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. That's a great return, isn't it? So fuck all the rejections. Just aim for that. You only need 2 successes. The rest can be blowouts. How is the food also in general? Husky being serious when you say, Mr. K approaches 100 single every day with no breaks at all. He does not get burnt out. He's not a good role model for normality. So I wouldn't, yes, it is true what he does. He approaches every day. He's constantly approaching. But he uses it as a form of meditation.
How many rejections would you say he gets in comparison with acceptances? Or is it not even really worth?
I see him get rejected the whole time, but he just doesn't. He's just like, whatever, you know, just walks on, just opens someone else. He just doesn't care.
Yeah.
He's very at peace with himself, very zen. He's done a lot of meditation. He doesn't drink, doesn't smoke. He goes to the gym.
Because at the end of the day, you've got to think about what is the end goal. The end goal is that you want to end up on dates and you want to end up, intimate and all the rest of it. So all of the rejections,
They don't.
they're irrelevant.
You don't remember them. Like, I met this really cool chick in St. Petersburg, and I'd had, in the few days before that, probably 30 or 40, not harsh blowouts, but things that didn't go anywhere. Either no at the beginning, or I get the number, they don't reply to text, or they start replying to text and then fall off, or whatever. But at the end of the day, I'm not remembering that shit. When I'm with this cool girl, I'm just being like, oh, God, this is cool. I've filtered through and found a good girl, and yeah. To be fair, a wise man once said that, essentially it's like playing poker, isn't it? You get a lot of dodgy dud hands, but then you get a good hand, which the girl's showing some interest, and you play it to the best of your ability.
Exactly.
And it's a brilliant way to look at it. It's a game of inherent losses. It's a game of a lot of no's. It's just part of the process, right? Until you've got 300, 400,000 subscribers on Instagram, and you've got some sort of ecosystem to bring in birds, or you become super rich and you have access to VIP clubs, or you become a quasi celebrity. Really, you have to be putting in the hard graft, and there's no way around the understanding that you have to be approaching. You cannot get out of approaching. You have to be approaching.
So approach.
Do it. Just do it.
At my age of 42, is a lot of guys doing approaches. So this guy set up another account again. He's talking about this issue of me being into transsexuals, which obviously I'm not. Dennis says, at my age,
Who is this clown? I don't know.
At my age of
yourself out here.
At my age of 42, is a lot of guys do approaches at this age. Yeah, 42 is fine. I'm 47. You can do approaches at any age, right? You might want to screen, your environment, the place you are, what's your value like, etc., etc. But one human being talk to another human being, which is really what we're talking about here. You can do that at any age. There's no time limit for it. But in certainly your early 40s, absolutely fine.
I agree. Is that the same question? What can you tell about age? Do you ever consider doing yoga? I mean, I need to do. What's your main business, Tusk? This is my main business. This is how I make money. I teach guys this stuff. I do this full time. There is a big old industry out there, the dating market for men. And
there are a lot of guys who
millions of men who are not happy with their dating life. I'd go so far as to say I've never met a guy who is genuinely 100% complete and happy with his dating life. There's a single guy. I've met guys in relationships who seem to be very happy and are married and no issues there. But I mean, look, we can always improve, right? We can always get better. Yeah, sure. Any other questions, lads? What we're going to do is we're going to, if you've got any other questions, fire them away at me now, or forever hold your peace. Yeah, if you've got any other questions, far away. I will answer them. And just to re-emphasize, we're going to go live on TikTok. You're going to be able to hear the audio when we approach. I'm going to do that about 10-15 minutes after this ends. So head over to TikTok. We will upload the recording to YouTube. It will be with audio, which will be cool. But we're going to give it a crack, do some live approaching with the audio, just to see how it goes. And again, the mics, I've got these Rode mics, are very cool. You can use them for Instagram Live, TikTok Live, but not YouTube. For some reason, it's not compatible with YouTube, hence why we're doing it on TikTok and then uploading it to YouTube. But we will see how it goes down. If you've got any final questions, fire them away now. I will answer them. Troy has gone to sleep. No, I'm joking. Hey, Tusk, you told quality in Russia and Moscow and St. Petersburg. Would you say same about Brazil? Quality only in Rio and Sao Paulo. There's some very attractive women in Rio and Sao Paulo. From what I hear, and I haven't been there, Belo Horizonte, Minas Gerais, lots of hot women. Recife had lots of hot girls when I went there. Florianopolis, known for hot women. Sugaray, known for hot women in Florianopolis. I mean, Guyana, I went there, very hot girls. There's a lot of beauty in Brazil. I also just love Brazil because I love the vibe of the people. They're very friendly. The girls are very open. They really like foreign people. Um, very, very cool place. Highly recommend Brazil. I go there every year for 3 or 4 months. So I'm looking forward to going back in. Sorry, though. You cross-eyed bastards, us. I will be going back there for New Year's Eve, and I can't wait. I fucking love Brazil. This time round, I speak a bit of Portuguese as well, which is nice. My plan is to go to some more random places. So when I go back, thinking about doing New Year's in Salvador or Recife, and then stay around those areas for a bit. I love Rio, but I've spent a lot of time there historically, so I think it's time for a change of scene. Why don't you learn Russian language? I will do. I will be learning it. I start my lessons soon, I think next week. I'm going to try and do 1 hour a day and watch Russian stuff as well to get grips with the language, because I want to be able to have a conversation. I think it makes sense to do it. Because also, if we go to places like Ukraine and Belarus, we can get away speaking Russian.
Yeah.
To make up for the lack of English sometimes. And it's just, again, it's just something to, I mean, the reason I learned it for Brazil, started learning it, is because it just got embarrassing. I've been there 5 times in a row, and it's just like, well, even Brazilians are like, and you don't, they're saying it as a joke, they're like, no, you don't speak any Brazilian. I was like, okay.
It's quite useful. Russian's quite useful because it does cover off quite a lot of this part of the world.
The whole of the former Soviet Union. You know, you've got Kazakhstan, you've got Azerbaijan, which we're keen to go and explore as well. All these spots. Yeah. What else we got? Final few questions, lads, and then we will come back on my TikTok live streaming. Why did you stop drinking? Did you find day game easier? I'm trying to do the same.
What's the question? Why did you stop drinking? Did you find day game easier?
Presumably when you were drunk.
No, I never really did day game when I was drunk. I stopped drinking because it got on top. I was drinking too much. I went down a bit of a dark hole with it, and I've got a very addictive personality, so it just wasn't working for me and my life. And you know, I had to knock it on the head. I wasn't really doing day game before. I was doing a lot of things in clubs and walking up to girls, smashed in clubs and stuff, and I was getting some success with that. I started doing day game afterwards, some time afterwards actually, but I was doing a lot of club games sober as well. And I found, I mean, the one positive I would say for it is it really, really helped my confidence, because when you've got to put yourself out there time and again, stone cold sober, in clubs and in the daytime, then that does a lot for your confidence, I think. So I think it's a good skill set to be able to get anyway. Yeah, that's it really.
Is it okay to fall back on lazy day game whenever you're feeling a bit tired? I mean, I prefer lazy day game full stop, to be honest with you. So I'm always trying to find a place I can just chill and sit, and I actually prefer it. I don't really like walking around. We've been doing it a bit, kind of showing you around Moscow, and we might even do that actually. Walk down to my boy Zara because I need to buy a t-shirt. Walk down to the shopping centre and do it as a bit of a little 45-minute walk, and then approach what's on the way. But typically, I prefer lazy day game. In London, when I was been living there for periods of time, I love getting a laptop, sitting at something like the Hoxton Hotel in Holborn, and just watching people come past. And it's like you jump out, you've got that natural excuse of, oh shit, I was just working, but I had to come and say hello, and you have a conversation, and it's just a great way to meet people. Any final questions, lads? And then we'll call it a day. Have you day gamed anywhere other than Colombia and Brazil in South America? Argentina? Chile? No, not in Chile. Fuck, I haven't really day game much in. Yeah, it's been Brazil and Colombia mainly.
But South America tour.
Yeah, we should. We will. Argentina as well. Stuffed with hot women, slightly more arrogant. Obviously, a lot of hot Venezuelans. It's not really possible to go there, but we spent a fair bit of time in Colombia, and there's a lot of Venezuelans living there. I mean, the world is your oyster. It's just, I find it incredulous, actually, that. I mean, there's just so many opportunities in the world. There's so many hot girls. There's literally billions, aren't there? And yet people sit at home going, oh, I can't approach.
Or geo, you know, you don't want to be travelling to do it. Stay in Bradford.
When you really think about the vast scale of the universe and the fact that, you know, imagine, I always use this analogy, right? But for guys that think, oh, it's quite hard to learn game. Imagine if you walked into an old school video game arcade, you had House of the Dead there, House of the Dead 4, Time Crisis, and you had a broken coin slot, right? So you have unlimited tries. Do you think you'd complete the game? You would, right? Because you learn, you level up, and you get better. It's the same with game.
basically it's free to go and speak to someone else in the street, right? You don't have to pay anything. You can get on a plane, go to a place where you find women attractive. You have unlimited opportunities. You're not going to run out of opportunities in your lifetime. You're going to be long dead before then and long sexually irrelevant. So I just find it incredulous that guys can't see past that there is going to be a bit of a hardship learning period, but see past that to the fact that there are so many opportunities.
It opens up the entire world to you.
Your world is literally your playground to learn this stuff, right? So if you're sitting there going all nihilistic, it just is a terrible attitude, because we live in the most abundant time possible. You can be anywhere in the world on a plane within 12 hours. You know, anywhere you choose. You know, get in touch with us, ask us where we would recommend depending on your preferences. But any man who doesn't learn to approach, really, it's just stupidity.
Well, you need it. You need it as part of the skill set, right? Because
in life, you need to be able to go and speak to people, not just women, like anyone.
Yeah, absolutely.
You need social skills. You need social freedom. You need social intelligence. You need to max these areas out.
And especially in this lifestyle now, where people are, you know, work from home is now a thing. You know, you can work remotely. Many people are sort of seeking to get into the digital nomad type lifestyle, where you can work from any country in the world. And if you're doing those things, then you need to be able to create new friendships and new bonds and new relationships with people quickly, you know, all over the place. And this is the skill set that you need to have.
There you go, mate. You know, and the direction me and Troy want to push this stuff in, again, is not kind of cheesy pickup artists from the 90s. We all know that's outdated. But about traveling, about blogging our experiences, about working on social skills, about having total social freedom. Really, that's the goal, because within total social freedom, guess what falls into that? The ability to go and flirt with women and take action. But on top of that, you can have a conversation, you can strike up a conversation with anyone, any place, any time. Hartis talks about it. If you had to distill game down into a sentence, what is it? To learn charisma, right? So learn charisma isn't just applicable with young 21-year-old attractive women. Learn charisma is applicable with any person, any situation, any time, any place. You can hold your own in a conversation. You can charm someone. And that's the position Silver Fox comes at it from, which is a very healthy position. Look at it as not just banging hot girls. Look at it as total social freedom and total social and emotional intelligence building process. And a side effect of that is you have unlimited dating opportunities as well. And you're just living a fun life, because we are built to be sociable. It's more interesting in life to interact with other human beings. That's why lone wolf characters tend to go fucking stir crazy eventually.
Well, yes, that is the case. So, you know, it needs to be a full package, holistic, building your social life at the same time.
There's some absolute wankers on this stream. Most of you are fine, but there's always a few faggots on the stream just giving just nonsense fucking comments. Any final? Hey, Tusker, your journey, did you ever study Ross Jeffries? Not really. Did you ever come across him?
I mean, yeah, a bit, but it's never been, you know, it's never been a big...
It was from that era of kind of cheesy, gamey, you know...
Yeah. Like David D'Angelo a little bit, but even then, I mean, it's all a bit old. It's all a bit old hat now. It's all a little bit...
Times change, things get better. Yeah. Times move on.
I think what we're banging on about really, though, is social skills. And that may sound very simple and very straightforward, but you know, for me, a lot of the stuff I had to kind of learn, and you can improve as you go on. You can go from a place of being very shy, very introverted, to being somebody who can, you know, be effective socially, and that's a really, really important thing to learn, because if you don't do that, then you know you kind of end up in your bedroom posting negative comments on people's live streams,
which is a total and utter waste of time.
Yeah. So, but you know, but within that, like we've said, I'm not a pickup guy. I'm not a pickup artist. You know, neither of us are. You know, yes, we are in. You know, we're interested in social dynamics, sexual dynamics. We obviously like to go out and date and all this stuff. But I mean, ultimately, it's about the full lifestyle. It's about travel. It's about living life on your own terms, having an amazing time. And within that, a part of that is dating, as well as making friendships with other guys and other people. So, but it's a holistic thing.
Agreed. I think that's final thoughts from us. Join us on my TikTok. We're going to go live in 10 or 15 minutes and do some live approaching. So we'll see you over. Just Google @JamesTusk at TikTok and you'll see us there. And the version of it will be uploaded later to YouTube for your viewing pleasure with audio. So you can see us actually having conversations. And yeah, spasiba.